How will or is this full moon in Taurus affecting you? Watch this video to find out. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself. Then I'm going to go into a breakdown of a few of the different energies of this full moon. And then I'm going to break it down per sign. Now, this per sign breakdown is going to be based on your rising sign. So if you have that, please go off of that. If you do not, go off of your sun sign because that resonates for quite a few people as well. Okay. So my name is Will. I am a professional astrologer. I'm a consulting astrologer, and I have been for a few years now. And another thing I want to touch on really quickly is the fact that during the full moon, Venus is actually in a yod configuration where she's making two uncomfortable configurations to Neptune in Pisces and Uranus in Gemini. And it's interesting because it's showing that there's going to be some type of possible like uncomfortable thing that is brought up about as well during this time. So maybe whatever like you're seeing now around this time is going to be a bit more uncomfortable. It might create some type of change, some type of fated change in your life. Just know that there's something larger at play, and these uncomfortable situations that we're going to be like faced with over the next few years as the planets are in certain configurations with each other are really fated ways of like creating the situation necessary for our souls to grow, even if it's uncomfortable. All right. Another really important thing for me to mention is that right now I am working on building a community. I'm rebuilding it now because my last YouTube channel got taken down for some reason. It's interesting because looking at my transits, I knew that something was going to happen. I just didn't know exactly what it was. And then when it happened, I was like, all right, I kind of know where this is supposed to go. And that's something that I want to help you get into the habit of doing for yourself is like seeing what you have going on and then trying to understand the bigger picture of it. All right. And so I will be doing these videos for like the different lunations, new moon, full moon, things like that, maybe other big astral events as well. But I will also be teaching you like different things about astrology as I go along. Sometimes it'll be like in some of the videos, and then I'll do some other separate videos because I really want to do what I can to prepare as many people as possible, like as many people actually make it into like my community for what we have going on because there's a lot of big change coming about and like a lot of people can feel it, like literally feel it. And we can see it with our eyes as well, right? The world is changing and there's no going back to the way that things were. So definitely make sure that you're following me if you want to form part of that community and start to learn how you can use this stuff in your life. And one thing that I will continuously repeat, you guys, is that it is important for you to understand your cycles and patterns. You must study your cycles and patterns because that's what we're working with when we're working with astrology. All right, astrology is literally seeing, okay, these planets are in such and such place. Typically when that happens, this happens here or this happens in my life. And if you can start to study those cycles and relate them to your own life, then you can get a better grasp of what's going on and you can work with it differently. All right. Like right now, I'm doing a full moon video. I'm going to see if I can upload my video from the new moon in Taurus from 6 months ago. And I'll try and put as much of it as I can back up so that you can have access to that. But it's really important that you start to learn how to link your cycles because yes, it's cool to have something resonate. It's cool to like hear like, oh, okay, this is exactly what's happening in my life. But it's even better when you can take that and then see how it relates to another part in your life and then start to really understand your cycles and your patterns. That way you can work with them in a more direct way because life isn't just happening to us, guys. We're co-creating. You are very important. You have a power and you have the ability to work with these energies in a different way when you're aware of them. If you're not aware of them, they do typically just play out whatever the default way is. However, as you start to engage this stuff and as you start to study your cycles and patterns, you become more aware of who you are, what your energies are, and what your relationship to the astrals are or the cosmos is, then you can do better at actually like really co-creating in a more efficient and more effective way. One thing that can really help you guys is getting a reading, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be running like a 25% off or 30% off sale for the next few months, because there's just so much that's happening, and I want to get as many people to get a reading before the energies start to really lock in. And you before that, it's harder for you to work with the energies. Right now we still have some of the energies that are in flux, but literally within a couple of weeks, one of the other pieces is going to lock into place and start going forward. And then soon afterwards, like there's a lot of change that's happening right now. You still have some flexibility with some of the different things that are happening, but as time goes, the energies start to click in, and you're still able to do something, but right now you've got a lot more flexibility with the energies and your ability to co-create and direct some of the energies in a certain way, like goes up if you know what you have going on. And that's what a reading can help you do, is understand what your energies are, what your personal relationship with the cosmos is, and then you can use that to shape the way that some of these energies play out in your life in the best way it's going to work out for you. Right now I'm going to do a general reading, so like it'll resonate for a lot of people, yes, but for some people it'll be completely different because they're like, this isn't resonating at all. And another thing that I'm going to mention in a lot of my videos is the importance of looking at degrees. All right, so I will talk about cycles and patterns, and I will talk about degrees, because degrees are important. If you don't know what a degree is, make sure that you pull up a copy of your chart that actually includes the degrees, because it's from the degrees that we can see how directly different things are going to affect you. All right. So each sign is broken down to 30 degrees. The closer it is to a degree of something that you have in your own chart, the more it's going to affect you. Like this full moon, I'm going to have the chart up over here. This full moon is actually happening at 13 degrees of Taurus. Therefore, if you have anything around 13 degrees of any of the fixed signs, meaning Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, this is going to affect you a lot more than it does many other people, right? And in fact, if you've got one of those placements, then you're probably already feeling this energy, especially if you have something from like 10 degrees to about 16 degrees of any of those signs. You're probably feeling it already, and the changes that it will bring about in your life are going to be a lot more easy for you to actually like feel, and like like the way that it shows up in your life will be a lot more marked than it will be for other people. All right, like a lot of the different things that are happening have been interacting very directly with my chart, so I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know that my YouTube channel was going to get taken down. I was going to have to start new, but I did know that because it was involving Venus, and because like of different things in my own chart, I knew where it was coming from, where it was kind of taking me, and also pairing that with my own intuition and different things that I know of in different other charts, because again I study my cycles and patterns. Um, I knew that I was supposed to do certain things I wasn't actually really wanting to do, and kind of it played out to where I didn't have a choice. All right. In your life, you may be dealing with certain situations where maybe you knew that you were supposed to change something. Maybe you knew that you needed to do something or operate in a different manner, but you've been resistant, and then something happens and it sucks, and you have to figure it out anyways. But if you can start to study the cycles and patterns, and you can kind of connect that to your intuition, because I believe everybody has it. Maybe we've been taught to ignore it, but it's there, right? And you can connect those things and really start to work in a way that's going to be better for you, so you don't have as many of those like, what do I do now moments, because you'll already prepare yourself, right? Um, so let's go into the energies now of this actual full moon. This full moon is like, the moon itself is in a good position for herself. She is in Taurus, a sign of her exaltation. Like, if you think of the way that Taurus people work and the way that Cancer people work, they share a lot of the same energies. It's because their two rulers are like friends. Like they get along very well. They like some of the same things. You've got like Taurus people that love food. They love enjoying like those those physical pleasures of life. And you've also got like the Cancerian people that love food as well. They love to nurture, they love to take care of things. And like the moon in Taurus is able to take her natural like wants and desires and her natural energies and really put them forth in a way that's actually supported and appreciated by this sign, right? So that right there is pretty cool. Whenever we've got an opposition, we've got the moon across from the sun, and that is, well, I guess a full moon is an opposition, right? A new moon is when you've got a conjunction, the moon and the sun together. Full moon is when they're opposing each other. Again, this is part of the cycle recognition thing, all right? We have a new moon where there's an ending and then a beginning. Full moon where you can see kind of what was going on, and then it'll make its way back around, right? The easiest cycle to try and follow would be the new moon to full moon. Like we had the new moon in Libra, now we'll have the full moon in Taurus. That's because we're switching on the signs as the sun moves and the moon opposes it. It'll be in the sign directly across from wherever the sun is, right? um, so you can kind of see like where some of the things are going, but it is a lot better for you if you can stretch your attention span and stretch your focus for the new moon in one sign to the full moon in that sign. Like I mentioned earlier, the new moon in Taurus to the full moon in Taurus, right? Now, the moon is in a good spot for herself, and that is one thing that we like to look at in astrology when we're talking about any events is how's the moon doing, right? Next up, we want to know how the ruler of the moon is doing, or the ruler of the sign that the moon is doing. And we've got Venus ruling over the moon, which again makes me kind of happy because we've got a benefic Venus in charge of whatever's happening in this sign. We have a benefic Venus in charge of whatever's happening with this lunation. I love it. And I also love the fact that Venus is in Libra at the time of this full moon, and that is one of her signs, so she's happy. She's able to, it's like if you're at home and you're in charge of an event or something like that, right? If you're at home and you're okay and you're like, you know where all your stuff is, that your ability to like really help and do things is a lot better than if you're in a position where you're in arguments, you're away from home, or you're just in a place that's completely foreign to you, right? Or even like more so if you're in a place that's really bad for you, if you're in a place that's completely opposite to whatever you're used to, right? Because when you're in those type of situations, it's harder for you to actually give your focus and put your energy towards what you need to, because you're dealing with so many other things, right? Same thing with the planets, where we've got the planets that are wanting to do what it is that they signify and wanting to like support whatever may be happening, but depending on whatever else may be going on, that may or may not turn out so well. So we look at the moon and we look at the ruler of whatever sign the moon is in. Now, while I'm really happy about that side of things, we have some complications also, because around the time of this full moon, we are literally coming off an exact opposition between Mars and Uranus. And you guys, Mars and Uranus came conjunct back in 2024, July 15th, I believe, somewhere around there of 2024. That was a very chaotic period, at least here in the US. And it's something, whatever happens here in the US typically resounds around the rest of the world. You can look up around those times and see what we had going on, and we'll probably see um, something that may be related to that. So we'll see what happens on a worldwide scale. But look at your own life and see what you had going on around July, like the middle of July of 2024. You may see some of those things come back into focus around this time, but it's weird because it'll be like some type of very similar situation or that exact situation that comes up, but the situations have changed some. The energy is different now, and it will still be quite intense. It'll still be probably something that will be maybe a bit jarring or a lot jarring, but the situations are different. So as this time comes about, and as you're watching this, see what it is that you're picking up. Also, another thing I would say is watch this video in like a couple weeks as well, to see if you can get a better idea of what it is that you had going on. A lot of times with full moons, like you'll start seeing the energy around this time, like 3 days before, 3 days after, and you start to like really gather like, okay, this is what it was that I had going on. With new moons, it typically takes a lot longer because it's a beginning. Like you can't see things. Like if you think of astrology, we're talking about things that are very relational to what we're seeing here, what we're like experiencing is going to be very much linked to what it is that we've got going on. Like the full moon, you see in your life, you'll probably start seeing things. New moon, something's being like brought about, something new is starting, but you don't necessarily see what it is that's going on. Me, for example, with my channel getting taken down, new moon, didn't know exactly what it was that was going down. I think it was my my stupid why Libra would want to choke you out. I think those videos are what triggered getting my channel taken down. Super sucks. I'm gonna post them again. Like maybe I'll have to like, I don't know. It was such a complicated situation. But anyways, we're now at a full moon, and I'm like, all right, this is what I need to do. But also, I'm a Leo rising, and like there's a way that my chart really indicates a lot of what I've got going on. Right. Again, I want you to get to a point where you can possibly like start to connect the dots for yourself and understand what you've got going on. So please, if you're interested in actually using astrology to transform your life, make sure that you're following me, and then also consider getting a reading, because I will do what I can to work with. Also, I will do what I can to work with you. Um, I've been letting people set up, like I've been setting up payment plans with people, and everybody who has set one up has paid so far. So like, beautiful. Let's keep that going. um, but I really like there's so much that's happening, you guys, and I really do want to do what I can to help as many people as possible, because life is gonna really shift. It is going to be so different a year from now. It'll be so different 6 months from now. And I want to do what I can to really help people get in touch with their energy so that they're able to use those. They can move from their own power within the world, because things are going to just like the tsunami of change that is coming, and just how different it's going to be. Like it's going to be very important for you to be able to draw on something from within, find your connection, and really like use that to go forward. So please, can like make sure you're following me, and if you want to get a reading, like I definitely say look into that, because like I know that things can play out in so many different ways, but if you're aware of the energies, you can interact with them differently, and you can engage them in a way that can be more beneficial for yourself, at least as beneficial as possible. One last thing that I'm going to throw in here is that Venus, at the time of this full moon, is separating from a square to Jupiter, which is the two benefics in conversation with each other. It's not exactly the best of connections, but either way it goes, they're the two benefics. So any type of connection, though it may produce some like a tendency to go overboard, and you may see that with some of the things that you experience around this time, um, they're still like the fact that it's two goods. All right, so be careful about the whole going overboard thing. But then Venus is also applying to square Pluto, which is where things can get really intense, right? There's an intensity that you might start hyper focusing on relationships, or you might start hyper focusing on like finances or something like that, where those Venusian energies are really getting more intensified. So pay attention to that if you're experiencing any of that going on, because it will help you again gauge that like this is part of the energies that we have going on here. And both of those energies like can go one way or the other, or typically they show up in many different ways, right? So with Venus and Jupiter, there can be an expansion in the way that you go about like magnetizing living life, and like your values and things like that. But then you also have the ability for this stuff to get hyper focused, or like obsessed in a sense with certain things, and it can kind of really shape those energies in a way that can be really intense. And it can either like, if you have the intensification of like relationship things, or if you have the intensification of like your focus on money and that side of things, it can get kind of hard for some people, right? But you can also have that Venus Pluto connection to where you get really deep into love, and it's like a profound thing where you're able to really like experience a higher, like a deeper level of things, right? And it can be beautiful and it can bring out some really great things for yourself, especially if you're using this for self-love, right? um but like just know that these are the energies that are coming out around this time. So like if you're feeling some of this, part of the energies, all right? And another thing I want to touch on really quickly is the fact that during the full moon, Venus is actually in a yod configuration where she's making two uncomfortable configurations to Neptune in Pisces and Uranus in Gemini. And it's interesting because it's showing that there's going to be some type of possible like uncomfortable thing that is brought up about as well during this time. So maybe whatever like you're seeing now around this time is going to be a bit more uncomfortable. It might create some type of change, some type of fated change in your life. Just know that there's something larger at play, and these uncomfortable situations that we're going to be like faced with over the next few years as the planets are in certain configurations with each other are really fated ways of like creating the situation necessary for our souls to grow, even if it's uncomfortable. Now, I'm going to do a breakdown for each sign. Watch for your rising sign mainly, sun sign afterwards, and then maybe your moon sign as well. It's just the moon's very subjective, and the ability to gauge that might be a bit different, right? But definitely rising sign for sure, and then maybe sun sign as well. For those of you who don't have your sun sign, check your don't have your rising sign, check your sun sign, which is what most people call their sign by default. Also, make sure that you are following me and you are giving me a like right now, especially if you watched this point. Like, you're a real one. All right. let's go to the let's go to the breakdown for each of the signs. Alrighty, for my Tauruses, we're going to start with you. This full moon in Taurus is going to be highlighting some different things that you've had going on with yourself, all right? First off, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch that because it will give you a whole lot more information than what I'm going to go over right now, okay? Now, around 6 months ago, there was some new beginning for you, right? There was something that started that was literally talking about yourself, your life trajectory, something about your body possibly, but there was something that was happening here for you. I want you to look back at that time and then compare it to whatever it is that you have going on right now. A lot of you might actually be seeing around this time different ways that your relationships are affecting you, and different ways that how maybe you are in your relationships is truly like making you feel on the inside, and how it is that it's changing the way that, or maybe shaping the way that you go about your life, especially in a more emotional realm, or maybe some of your more subconscious ways of approaching things. Maybe that's being affected by your relationships, and you might be getting a chance to see now like how that is playing out for you. Another interesting thing is that Venus at the time of this full moon is actually in a yacht configuration, which is an uncomfortable situation. It's an uncomfortable thing that is seemingly fated, that is forcing you to really reconcile different energies, right? And at this time, what it is doing is it is pulling your focus, possibly also to different ways that your day-to-day routines, maybe your diet or your health, are being affected by some of your relationship things that you have going on. There's things that are really directly connecting us from your 11th house of like friendships and alliances, um, possibly like social groups in some sense, to your finances, and those things are both pushing into the energy of your day-to-day routines, maybe your work, um, your diet, maybe, or like physical ailments. For some people, actually, this may also be somehow affecting their pets. Sixth house is linked to pets as well, and for some people, you may actually see different things that are happening, or different changes with your pets, or some type of focus being brought on your pets right now as well. That is like a big thing, and I don't want to forget it. But for some other people, it will legitimately just be like figuring out your relational things, the way that your funds are actually playing out to this as well. And maybe you're going to get a better idea of how these different areas of your life are really affecting you and what exactly it is that you need to change, what it is you need to let go, and how you can better approach these energies in a way that's going to be more productive, and it's going to be better for you as a person in the end. Really quickly, I want to also just really quickly touch on the fact that there could be some people that have been going through different changes and uh, transformations in either their public image or their careers um, for a bit now. Like it's been kind of on and off, and it's been something where like the energies are going back and forth. And now, since Pluto is direct in your 10th house and he's making a sextile to Mars in your 8th house, there can be some type of connection, some type of drive, especially when you are um, really connected to figuring out your truth, figuring out what it is that you actually want, and like coming from like a deeper side of yourself, you can truly help these changes come about and this transformation come about in a way that can be positive for yourself in that career or like public image sector of your life. Let me know in the comments if this resonated for you. Also, give me a like. Make sure you share this with anybody that could possibly benefit from it. And if you'd like to work with me personally, go to my website, which I should have right there. Um, because, again, if you haven't watched the first part, go watch that. I'm doing what I can to help. All right? Thank you so much for watching. Now for my Geminis, meaning my Gemini risings, my Gemini suns. This full moon for you is going to be playing out in your 12th house. And this is a place where like I tend to focus a little more energy and focus a little more attention because anything happening in your 12th house is something that's happening in a place that you can't necessarily see. But it is still a very important place in your life because it's the area of your life that we talk about maybe different mental health issues, maybe, or mental health complications that you may have going on. You may at this point become aware of something you have going on in the mental side of things that is being affected possibly quite directly by your your routines, your daily routines, maybe by your diet, and possibly by different things that you have going on at work. There's a chance for you to now possibly really gain some insight on what you have going on in this area of your life, and maybe the need to rest, maybe the need for you to kind of like take some time away that can help you. It can possibly also help you gain some insight and some perspective on different self-destructive tendencies that you have, and maybe help you figure out how you can start to resolve those things. The good thing about the full moons is that they help you see things so that you can then deal with them for what they are. All right. It might be a little more complicated because this is in a place that is, again, not usually accessible to you and it's not something that you're usually aware of. But if you are getting inklings of different things that you have going on, like, I really feel like I need to, like, just retreat or, take some time to myself, maybe rest some more, enjoy a good meal. um, like, take care of yourself, all right? Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're paying attention to that delicate balance between your routines, your diet, and what you're doing in this one side of your life and how that's affecting another side of your life. They interplay constantly. It's just we're not always aware of that. We're not constantly thinking of it. And also, another thing I want to bring up is that there's something that's happening around this time that is bringing up some type of discomfort as well. And it might be playing into a lot of what you have going on that I just talked about, where there's some different changes and things that have been happening within your life and within yourself, maybe different changes with your body, as well as maybe some sense of loss or some sense of like confusion or mm, maybe idealism when it comes to your career and that public image section of your life. And those two areas of your life are kind of pressing into the area of your life that talks about things that you do for fun, things that you bring into the world, things that you create. And it's somehow linking all of this stuff together because it's Neptune in Pisces connecting to Gemini, Uranus and Gemini, and they're creating some tension for Venus in Libra right now. and these energies are just playing out in a way that could be kind of uncomfortable for you, and it could be like really making it to where the energies that are coming to light within this 12th house section of your life is really more intensified. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you are also doing what you can to get rid of some of the extra energy that you might be dealing with as a Gemini rising. Like the energy of Uranus is really like hyper activating your body. It's hyper, like it's supercharging your body, your life, um yourself with just like a lot of energy. And sometimes you just got to figure out ways to get rid of that energy. And it could be like a good idea for you to go out and touch grass, or to like ground some, find some way of getting rid of some of that energy so that you can maybe stabilize some and then be able to deal with some of the other stuff that we have going on. And another thing that I will touch on right now that I do want you to definitely make sure that you're paying attention to, if you're in a situation that um, you have different issues that are coming up right now with your relationship, um, be aware of them, see what it is that it's showing you. There's an intense aspect that's happening right now with Mars opposing Uranus, Mars in your seventh house opposing Uranus in your first house, and there could be um, chances for things to kind of get out of hand with relationship, where there's different anger or something like that that comes up in a relationship. And I want you to be aware of that. I understand that that's also part of the energy right now, so like if you can maybe avoid getting in arguments. Mercury's not too far from this either. Like if you can avoid getting in arguments with your partner, or anything like that, I would definitely like for that to be the case. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself and pay attention to the different things that you have going on right now. All right, there are so many different things that are happening in the sky right now that are just kind of priming us for a lot of the changes that are coming, and like us connecting to these things and then paying attention to what we've got going on in our lives can really help us interact and co-create in a more constructive way. All right. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch that, because you'll get a whole lot more context for a lot of the different things that I talked about right now. Um, Please let me know in the comments if this resonated for you. Give me a like, make sure that you're following me. And if you'd like to work with me personally, my website is right here. You can go there. As I mentioned in the first part of this video as well, I am working with people when it comes to that. I'm probably going to be doing a discount here soon. Might be active by the time you see this, maybe not. We'll see. Actually, you know what? I will give a discount code down below. So yeah, and reach out to me if you want to do that. We can figure something out. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, now for my Cancers. That means my Cancer risings, my Cancer suns, especially my Cancer risings. All right. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, make sure that you go back and watch it, because I give a whole lot more context for what I talk about here. Also, I do want you Cancer people to make sure that you're paying attention to the different things that are happening with the moon, because she's your ruler, especially if you're a Cancer rising. Like what happens with the moon will a lot of times help you understand a lot of what you have going on in your life. And right now you've got the moon in Taurus, which is a good spot for herself, but there's still some type of like discomfort that's coming about. Like I don't know if this is going to be playing out for you to where like it feels like everything should be good, but there's still that something that just seems off, and it's really uncomfortable for you, and it's irking you and making you want to figure out what it is that's kind of off in your life and causing a sense of like discomfort, is what I feel like is going to be the case for a lot of people. And for some of you, it's going to be discomfort that's actually linked to the home. It could be linked to maybe your home, maybe your parents, maybe your ancestry, but there's something here that's showing that there's something that's being highlighted during this time, and it's again, like I said, it's weird because it's like you feel as if there should be some good times because the moon is in a happy spot for herself, where the energy should flow really well. And there's something here that's happening where like you're like, everything seems like it should be good, but there's just something that's not sitting right with me. And maybe if you look in that fourth house section of your life and what you have going on there, it could help you understand some of what there is going on. But at the same time, full moon in Taurus means that the sun is in Scorpio at this time, and you can see possibly how different things about the way that you go about having fun, your hobbies, and maybe different temporary relationships that you may experience, that how those things are affecting possibly your friend groups and your alliances or your social groups, right, in a sense. And you might be able to see how these two areas of your life are interacting in a way that, um again, at this point, like, I just feel like there's some discomfort that's going on here. um there has been Jupiter transiting through your first house that has been trying to affirm different things about yourself, trying to help you really gain some luck in your life trajectory, maybe. Um, and at this time, he's making a connection to Venus, the ruler of this full moon. So there can be like different things about your life that are doing what they can to kind of help in the grand scheme of things. It's just that there's something that you're having to figure out during this time, and I'm hoping that, like, if you can look back to maybe 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Taurus, some of whatever was going on there with your friendships, like new friendships that began or something like that, like you're starting to now see things for what they are, and it can help you really gauge what you need to do from now on. Maybe there was like a new alliance or a new friend group that you started, or you started interacting with certain people, and now you're starting to see things like, okay, well, this isn't what I thought it was, or this is affecting other areas of my life in ways that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, so maybe I need to change some things. And because of the light that's shown by the moon at this time, like, you're able to really gauge that and maybe really work on connecting to your emotions and connecting to that inner side of yourself, because now it's getting seen a lot better. And there's something that I always say about like my Cancerian people is you're very in tune, or you have the ability to be very in tune with the flows, the ebbs and flows of your life, and you have to get to a point where you're able to really um, accept that, and accept that there is going to be fluctuation, that there is going to be ebbs and flows to your life as a whole, especially my Cancer risings. um, and learn to work with those, right? Learn to work with when the energy is going up, when the energy is going down, and connect yourself to that so that you can work within your own power to bring into your life what you want, and then let go of things that you don't, right? And a lot of this is going to be connected to different things with your intuition, different things that you kind of know and you probably should be following. um, you just have to learn how to gauge what is actually intuition, what is like what you're picking up on, and what is possibly stuff that you're thinking up. At around this time, I do want you to make sure that you're paying attention to different conflicts that may be coming up, maybe in your workplace, different things that are coming up that are causing issues with maybe your diet or your day-to-day routines, maybe even something that could be affecting your physical health or something like that. Make sure that you're taking care of that, making sure that you're being very conscientious of the balance and the interplay between the section of your life that talks about the things that you're doing constantly, the things that you're eating constantly, like the way that you go about life in that area. It could also be, again, dealing with your work and how that's affecting maybe different self-destructive tendencies, or how it's affecting maybe your need to rest, that you aren't necessarily getting that rest right now. There's an opposition between Mars and Uranus right now that is showing that the energy here is very volatile, and I want you to make sure that you're doing what you can to factor that into whatever it is that you've got going on for the next few days at the very least, because the chance to overdo things or to have explosions in these areas of your life um, are pretty high. And I want you to be aware of it so you can kind of curtail it as much as possible. All right. Let me know if any of this resonated for you. Make sure that you're following me so that you can catch my future videos. Again, let me know in the comments like how this is working out for you, and share this with somebody that you think can actually benefit from it. All right. And if you'd like to work with me personally, make sure you go to my website, which I will have linked down here, or that I'm putting right here, because I don't think that I can do links right now if you're watching this on the tube. um, Restarting. Watch the first part of this video. You get more context. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, now for my Leo people, especially my fellow Leo risings, talking directly to you. Leo suns, this also may resonate for you. Let me know in the comments if it does. But you guys, we have this full moon right now playing out in our 10th house, right? This is going to be playing out on our 10th and 4th house axis. And it's going to show how different things that we have going on at home are really affecting the work life or our careers, maybe our public image. And we're going to deal with like some trying to figure out how to resolve what we have going on there, right? In this opposition between those two sections of our life. The interesting thing though is that there's a lot of like different energies where like maybe this should be feeling a lot better for us. Maybe we should be like really connecting, especially like during this time. Like a lot of us might be able to see what it is that is coming about of our public image. Like we can be seeing a lot of what we have going on in that career section of our lives, what it is that we want, what it is that we don't want, and we're being able to really connect to that more directly. But there's also a sense of like discomfort and disconnect that is being highlighted by the fact that we've got Venus, the ruler of this full moon, in a yod configuration with Neptune in our 8th house, connecting to Uranus in our 11th house, which would be our friends, our audiences, our social groups, alliances, and things like that. Like there's something that's happening there where like these two energies are like kind of creating discomfort for Venus at this time. And it's something that we might actually have playing out in our careers as well. Um, and there's another interesting thing because it could be taking our focus when it comes to our careers and when it comes to our um, our public image to this area of our life that's talking very specifically about our siblings. For some people it'll play out that way. Some people will be having to deal with communication. For some people, it's social media and things like that. But then also, it could be dealing with transportation for some people. I don't want to leave that out. But there are these different areas of our life that are playing into each other, and you're going to see during this time that like really the highlight is going to be on what it is that's happening with your public image and your career. Take this time to really pay attention to what you have going on in this area of your life because you're getting to see it in a different light. There's something that's happening here where Mars is entering into our 5th house, where it's talking about things that we bring into this world, things that we create, whether that be like children or whether that be like people that are creators, content creators, and things like that, things that you're creating in that sense, right? Might be things that you're doing for fun, people that you're doing for fun as well. Um, and how that's like creating some different tensions with the other side of things where it talks about like your friendship, your friend groups, your maybe for people that have audiences, your audience. And there's different changes that you have going on here where Uranus has been in there really switching things up since like July. And Uranus is getting ready to pop back out of there and go back into the area of our lives that is talking about our careers. And there's something that's going to be linking these two areas of our lives, different changes that we're having there and how it's going to be affecting our careers before Uranus starts to go forward again, right? Please pay attention to these different things that we have going on. Again, like if you haven't watched the first part of this video, make sure that you watch it because I go over the importance of our cycles and patterns and recognizing those, seeing those, and studying those. You want to also go back to 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Taurus. Hopefully, I'll be able to get that video up, repost that, post it for the first time 'cause it's a new channel. But like, try and connect the dots because it'll help you really start to follow what you have going on in your life and then really start to work with the energies in a more constructive way for yourself and in a more direct way for yourself because we are co-creating our lives and I want you to do what you can to be able to take advantage of these energies. All right. um, Overall, I like the moon being in Taurus. It is definitely a lot more supportive, and for a lot of us, it's gonna help us really see what we've got going on in that career section of our life and what it is that we need to be doing, what we need to adjust in order to make it more sustainable. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if this resonated. Make sure that you're following me. Share this with anybody you think that can actually benefit from it as well. And make sure that you watch the first part of this video, like legitimately, you guys, that I go into a whole lot more information. If you'd like to work with me personally, I've got my website there. Reach out to me. again, watch the first part of this video. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Leo risings with your ascendant, or if you're a Leo sun with your sun around 13 degrees of Leo, this will definitely probably affect you more so than other people. Make sure you're paying attention to the different things that you have going on, because it might be creating some type of tension, but it's trying to show you something. All right. Now, for my Virgo people, meaning Virgo suns, Virgo risings, especially my Virgo risings, maybe for Virgo moons, if you're watching it for your moon, and you're not like me, you have Virgo sun and moon, like, let me know if it resonates. But anyways, for my Virgo people, this is going to be a full moon happening on November 5th in the sign of Taurus, which is actually playing out in your ninth house, meaning that there's going to be something that's happening around this time where your attention is being brought to, or something is being shown to you in the section of your life that talks about your philosophy, possibly your connection to spirituality, your connection to God. Maybe foreign lands as well will be something that some people will be experiencing, and how those different areas of life are actually really supportive of yourself, right? Of your life trajectory, the way that you are going about your life, and possibly even for your body as well. Your neighborhood, how it is your communications, or maybe even your siblings are really affecting that side of your life. And maybe like something that's happening with you in that section of your life is highlighting what it is you have going on with your belief systems, the way that you see things, like your philosophy, right? Um, and for some people, it may actually also highlight different legal things. For some reason, that just came to mind, so I want to make sure I mention it. Like, ninth house can also be legal stuff that's going on, but there's going to be a chance for you right now to kind of see things a lot better for what they are. Take that opportunity to really use this time to gauge what you have going on, figure out what you want, what you don't want, what you need to let go, like figure that stuff out, right? There is something that's happening right now also, that during the time of this full moon, we also have Mars, who has recently opposed Uranus, and it's something that's showing that you have some type of things that are going on possibly in your home life that are really not jiving too well with different things that you have, different changes that you have going on in your career, your public image, and that's causing some type of tension. All right. I'm not a fan of this configuration at all, because things have a tendency to get blown out of hand. There's a chance that there are big changes that are done in the moment, possibly out of anger or out of some type of like really harsh energies, and I'm not a fan of it. So be aware that that's what we have going on around this time, and pay attention to how exactly this is affecting these areas of your life, because there's there's something that I feel like is probably going on in your home life that is getting lit up right now, and I want you to make sure that you're taking care or being careful with the energies when it comes to things that you have going on in that home life section. If you're not necessarily aware of what it is that's going on now, Mercury is going to be going retrograde in a little bit, and it's going to go back over this point. Maybe during that time you might have something that happens where maybe there's an argument or something like that that's bringing back to this point. But there, I say just make sure that you're being very conscientious of the fact that there's more chaotic energy than usual playing out in these two areas of your life. They'll start to separate, but it's just one of those highlights of the month even, and it's just intense energies. Make sure that you're aware of it, and you don't let things get too out of hand. Let me know if this resonated for you. Let me know in the comments. Give me a like. Make sure that you're following me, and share this with anybody you think can actually benefit from it. Thank you so much for watching. Also, if you want to work with me personally, make sure you go to my website. It's like right here. Reach out to me. I am doing what I can to work with people. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch it. I give a whole lot more detail on a whole lot of things, all right? Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, now for my Libras. That means Libra suns and Libra risings, especially Libra risings, all right? You guys, this is going to be a full moon that is playing out in your 8th house. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, definitely go back and watch it, because I go into a lot more details and I give you a lot more context for a lot of the things that I describe here. Also, if you have the ability to, think back to 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Taurus, because some of the different things that were started around that time will come back into play around this time, and you might be able to see them a little better for what they are, especially when we're talking about those eighth house topics, meaning like maybe for some people it'll be dealing with other people's money, maybe different funds that you have shared with your partner. Maybe it'll be dealing with inheritances for some people. For other people, you might actually be dealing with debts, all right? And you might be able to see a lot of your debts and how maybe what you're bringing in, what your income is affecting your debts. And maybe you'll be able to figure out a way that you can better work with those energies and maybe let go of some of those debts, figure out ways to resolve some of those debts, or figure out what, like, maybe during this time you're able to see what you've got going on in that section of your life, and then it'll give you the ability to then work with it in a more conscientious way or in a more conscious way. For some people, this will be highlighting topics and things coming up around death. That's not going to be the case for everybody, but if it is, like, take this time to really reflect upon the different things that come to mind, the different things that come to you emotionally, and kind of gauge what it is that you're actually feeling in this area of your life, all right? That could be the same also for people that are dealing with debts and other things as well. Like, really see how these different things are affecting a side of you that maybe you're not always paying attention to. Maybe it's stuff that's playing around in the background and you're just not very aware of it. Around the time of this full moon, there's also a very intense aspect that's being created in the skies that is really talking about maybe things where it comes to your siblings, um, and also dealing with different changes that you have in philosophy and things like that. Like, for some people, you might actually be like changing your religion or changing. You might be. Some people might be moving to a foreign land or something like that. But there's something about different changes that you have in that ninth house section of your life that could be affecting different arguments and different issues that you're having right now with your siblings or within your neighborhood. For some people, it'll be dealing with like your communications. Also, for you, my Libra risings, I do want you to know that there's something that's happening during this time that is taking me back to where, like, there's something that's going on with you, and there may be some different changes that you've had going on recently within that ninth house section of your life, that are around this time kind of flowing with different things that you have going on with changes, or different things that you have going on with your day-to-day routines, with your diet, with work. And that's pushing or forcing some type of discomfort within yourself and within like your life trajectory, to where like you're feeling like something needs to be resolved, right? It's showing me that there's a lot about what's happening right now that will be affected by, like, what you have going on within your life and those different areas of your life that have been dealing with changes. The thing that might be kind of playing into this in a grand scale is the different changes that you had that you thought that you had completely gotten over, or like, where you thought that you were getting some clarity when it comes to your day-to-day routines and your diets and stuff, and then something has recently happened, like really recently happened possibly, that is kind of making you confused again. That's like kind of throwing things off, or maybe making it to where like you're not able to see things for what they are anymore. And there's something that's happening with the changes there, the possible confusion here, and the way that that's kind of like really kind of like, I feel like it's irritating you, right? um and somehow that's going to be playing into the energies of this full moon and how things play out, to where like typically a full moon in Taurus should be kind of comforting. It should be kind of good because the moon's in a good place in Taurus. It's just there's something here where there's something in your life that is changing, that is needing to change, and there's something that is kind of being brought about during this time that will definitely be affecting you and your life trajectory during this time. Maybe take this time to kind of process the different things that you have going on and see how it is that, like, this area of your life is needing to be kind of changed. There's also an interesting thing, and as much as like right now Venus, your ruler, is right over the spot where we had the new moon in Libra 2 weeks ago. And it's really just drawing us back to this point where this new beginning, this new thing is going to likely be very directly playing into a lot of the stuff that we have going on. Um, Also, keep in mind that things are happening in cycles. So pay attention to this, because there's a, like, it seems like life is really finding complex ways to put together and draw together different areas of your life that normally wouldn't communicate, that aren't really usually playing off of each other, but they're playing off of each other right now in a way that is kind of forcing like different changes within yourself. Like I'm legitimately feeling like this is, yes, you're dealing with things that are happening in this area of your life, and yes, you're going to have to possibly let go of something. You're going to have to like see your debts for what they are, maybe figure out how you're going to resolve those things, and then like see how that's all playing out with your financial situation. But there's just so much of this that's just taking me to you, and you figuring out something within yourself. All right, especially those of you that have planets and things around 28 degrees of Libra. If your ascendant's around 28 degrees, if your sun's around 28 degrees of Libra, like those last days of Libra season for your sun, like you're probably going to be experiencing and like connecting with these energies a lot more intensely than maybe other people are, and it might be a little more uncomfortable for you, and it might be generating a lot of that. But there is something that needs to be said about the fact that it is Venus going over this area, and there's she's able to give some support. All right, so it might not be the most comfortable thing ever, but I do believe that there's a chance that this can actually work out for your greater good at the end of the day. All right, keep that in mind. Let me know if any of this resonated. Make sure that you're following me, like legitimately let me know in the comments. Make sure that you're following me, give me a like, share this with anybody you think can actually benefit from it. And if you want to work with me personally, check out my website. I'll have it right there or here, I don't know, somewhere in this area. um, I'm doing what I can to work with people. So again, watch the first part of this video. I go into a lot more detail there, but reach out. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video. Alrighty, now for my Scorpio people, meaning Scorpio suns, Scorpio risings, especially my Scorpio risings. This full moon is going to be playing out in your 7th house. And especially those of you who have any like angles, like your ascendant, or any planets around 13 degrees of Scorpio, you're going to definitely be feeling this a lot more than most other people, all right? And make sure that you're paying attention to the different things that come about around this time, because it's really helping you connect to and see these different things that you have going on in your life in a different way, all right? There's going to be an emphasis placed right now on your relationships and different things about how you shine in your relationships and how they're affecting your relationships, how your way about going about things, how you identify possibly, and how that's affecting you through your relationships. Maybe some of you will actually see different aspects of yourself reflected through your relationships and the different things that you're feeling in your relationships around this time. I'm going to be quite honest, there are going to be some people that are Scorpio risings, especially, that are starting to maybe get to a point where they're deciding whether or not they want to continue on with a current relationship. Because one thing that happens when you've got the moon lighting up a certain section of your life is you're able to see like a side of things that maybe you've been feeling, you just haven't necessarily been able to really consciously like connect to. And right now you're starting to see things that you've got going on in that section of your life, and it's going to help you really maybe gauge what it is that you do want, what it is that you don't want, if there needs to be some different changes made in your relationship sector that can really kind of help you and maybe set you on a better path for your life, right? um, and sometimes, yeah, that is like, all right, I'm seeing my relationship for what it is, or I'm seeing it from how it's affecting me, and I don't necessarily want this anymore. And if that's the case, um, you're free to make your decisions and decide what it is that you want to do, right? But it's around this time that you're going to start to see things possibly a little better, and then like really connect to those emotions and connect to that deeper side of things that that has been, again, possibly aware of some of this stuff since beforehand. It's just now it's kind of in your face, right? Please do not like let this chance go, to really reconfigure things and decide what it is that you want for your life, because there's going to be high importance placed on you knowing what you've got going on and working with your own personal energies. And I feel like Scorpio people, you can be very intense, you can be very protective and very loving, but at the same, like, it depends on whether somebody's in that inner circle or not, right? But like, you want to do what you can. It's just if you're putting your energy in a place that's not necessarily worth it, or it's not, there's something wrong there, then it'll be affecting you, and it's better for you to work with things for what they are. And if you can get a chance to see things better, then why not? Maybe around this time for some people, like, your intuition will be heightened and you will be able to connect to something that you've already been feeling. I do want to make sure that I bring up something that may be happening when it comes to different, very recent, or maybe something that's going to come up around, like, right now. um Different things that are happening with your finances, and something that's burning through your finances, and different changes that you have that are coming about when it comes to, like, your joint funds or something like that. Or maybe it's dealing with different debts or something that have been changing, um, over the past few months maybe. But like, there's something that's happening now that's really like exciting this energy, and making it to where, like, it's a lot more intense for you. um and or maybe something happens and it just like, something's happening, that's affecting your finances, is causing frustration, right? Maybe some people are burning through money, um, and it's kind of dealing with some different changes that they've had going on in that section of their lives that legitimately is talking about joint finances, or maybe your partner's finances. Maybe there's been different changes that have been happening with your partner's finances, and it's causing different issues with your finances during this time. Or for some people, it'll be dealing with, maybe taxes. But uh, I feel like there's more of a financial thing that's going on during this time. So if that's you, uh, do what you can to not let this get too out of hand. Look back, because for some people, it's going to be stuff is that was started around middle of July of 2024. Um, so that, like, if you look back to that time, maybe it'll help you gain some perspective on what you have going on right now. Also, make sure that you look back to 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Taurus, because that will also be kind of helping you understand some of the stuff that's going on that relational side of things. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if this is resonating for you, or if you've seen some of these things already start to come up in your life. Especially the people around with things around 13 degrees of those fixed signs, like, it'll definitely be affecting you, or a lot more present in your life than it is in other people's lives. If you'd like to work with me personally, you can actually reach out to me. I've got my website there. Um, I am doing what I can to work with people. Like, again, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch it, because I go into a lot more detail on a lot of different things. We're in very important times, and I want to do what I can to help people figure out as much as they can before certain energies lock into place, and it's a lot harder for you to do so. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video. Alrighty, now for my Sagittarius people. That means my Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius risings, more so than anything. Maybe Sagittarius moons. If you watch it for your moon sign and it resonates, let me know. Yeah, this is built off the rising sign, and the sun sign really resonates for a lot of people as well. So keep that in mind. Now, you guys, this is going to be a full moon that is highlighting a interesting space for you. It's going to be talking about, like, your day-to-day routines, your diet, your work, possibly for some people. And for some people, it could also be talking about your pets, right? And there's something that's going on here to where, like, you are seeing how maybe the way that you like to maybe isolate yourself from people is affecting those areas of your life, or maybe some different mental health things that are affecting that area of your life. Maybe there's something that is some self-destructive tendencies that are feeding directly into this area of your life, and now you're getting a chance to see it, right? um, and that's that's kind of what the full moon itself is highlighting. It's just I'm really more concerned about the Mars Uranus opposition, which is exact today, the day that I'm recording this, because I'm had some issues recording before, but it's the fourth, and um, some of you may be experiencing different issues with your relationships, and maybe there were different changes that were happening with your relationships that are making it to where you're having some harder thoughts. You're having some harder thoughts for a lot of people because you've got Mercury in the mix as well. But there are different things that are making you a little harder on yourself, possibly, or you're having issues with yourself, or you're having frustrations, and maybe you're having frustrations with your life trajectory or something like that. And that right there is it's concerning for me because there's a lot of really like chaotic energy playing into this. And um I want you to know that if you are feeling like extreme like bouts of anger or something like that in this moment, maybe let a couple days pass before you act on anything, or you do like just let some time pass and kind of see how you're feeling afterwards. Mercury will be revisiting the spot later, and maybe that'll be a good time after Mercury's gone direct again. Maybe you can figure things out with how exactly this is really affecting your life, more so than trying to act in the moment right now when things are just kind of really intense and like possibly blown out of goodness, blown out of proportion, I guess. Um, Definitely make sure that you're just paying attention to that and aware of the fact that, like, if you are dealing with different relationship things that are going on and it's really affecting you, um, give it some time. Don't do anything rash, all right? But again, with the full moon itself, I do want you to make sure that you are paying attention to what is actually happening with your diet, what is happening with your day-to-day routines, with your work, and how that's actually making you feel, how you're connecting to those energies right now, because there's something here showing that maybe something needs to be let go, maybe something needs to be changed. At the very least, right now, you're able to see things a lot better than usual, and that will give you the opportunity to make the choices that you need to make, all right? I believe that, yes. And at this time, you've also got Venus in a really awkward position where it's creating some type of discomfort there. And that discomfort might actually be showing in Taurus as well because she rules over Taurus. But it's a faded discomfort. It's a faded something that's also connecting maybe your friendships to some of this energy as well. And something that needs to be done, or maybe your friendships will help you figure some things out as well. Um, just legitimately, guys, take it easy. Do not like do what you can to not act in the moment around the time of this full moon, around this time right now that you're watching this possibly. And then also maybe look back to 6 months ago when we had the new moon in Taurus, see how maybe some different things that were started then are playing out now, and you're probably seeing the fruits of it a lot better. Also, for the Mars Uranus opposition, look back to about mid July of 2024 because that can help you understand different things that you have going on there, even if it's just different things that you had going on with your workplace, with your day-to-day routines and maybe with your pets or something like that around that time. Now it's playing out in different areas of your life to where it's really getting kind of intense, but it's something that will pass. It's just maybe it's showing you where you need to change some things, all right? Maybe some people need to be changing up their relationships. Maybe the relationships have been going through something that's affecting them, and it's going to be like pushing them to actually change the way that they go about life. Maybe some of you will be experiencing that. And if so, again, give it some time. Don't do anything like really crazy in the moment. Like, please don't do that. All right. Let me know if this resonated. Make sure that you're following me so you can catch future videos. Like this video. And again, like, let me know in the comments that I really want to know if this is resonating for people. If you'd like to work with me personally, you can reach out to me on my website. It should be there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. PS, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, it'll probably be called like intro or something like that, or like energy breakdown. Watch that because it'll give you a lot more context, okay? Thank you. Alrighty, now for my Capricorn people, meaning my Capricorn risings and Capricorn suns. Capricorn risings, more so than anything, this is based off your rising sign. but the sun sign does actually resonate for a lot of people because the sun is such a central part of our being, right? Now, you guys, I recorded this yesterday, went on this whole thing. Maybe it'll be a lot more chill for me today. I thought I was recording, it wasn't actually recording. But you guys, this is going to be playing out. Oh yeah, I was actually happy about this. All right. This full moon is actually going to be playing out in your fifth house, right? And I think that for a lot of you, this is a good time for you to go out and do something fun, to go out and think about different things that like reconnect to different hobbies, reconnect to something that's going to bring some joy into your life, just because there's been so much going on. Your lives have been so chaotic. There's been like my Capricorn people, like you guys, whenever I do my videos, I'm just feeling for you because there's just so much is going on. There's been so much going on for so long for a lot of you that like it's really hard. And I think that when you don't have a chance to reconnect to something fun, you don't have a chance to get yourself out of all the responsibility and everything that you've been taking on probably since like really, really early in your life for most of you. Um it's really hard to have the courage or the drive to continue on. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, there's okay. I get why it was kind of complicated as well because I'm looking at other things now. Um, like, take the time to have some fun. Understand the importance of having fun. It is irresponsible for you to not go out and have some fun as well. Like, I need you to connect the dots there. You enjoying yourself is part of what is going to make it to where you can continue to fulfill your responsibilities so you can continue to do what you need to do. All right. If you do not, then you put yourself into a really bad position to where it is all work and no play. And like, trust me, I know like a lot of people are know about the Capricornian drive to like just continue to achieve, right? But most of the Capricorn people I know when they party, like they work hard, yeah, but they party hard too. So there's that. But like you really do need to understand that it is important for you to have fun. Right now you've got the sun in your 11th house, which is highlighting your friendships and things that you've got going on there with your friends, your friend groups. And then you've got the moon in Taurus talking about things that you bring into this world, things that you create, things that you do for fun, maybe your children as well. Like for some of you, maybe you'll need to connect to your children. Some of you, maybe you need to like let some things go with your children because around this time, you're going to be seeing possibly a lot more clearly what it is you have happening in that fifth house section of your life. You're going to figure out what it is that's good for you, what it is that isn't good for you, so you can make the necessary changes because typically you're not necessarily connected too well to this energy, especially my Capricorn risings. I'm sorry, you guys. Like that's like I feel like you guys have a tendency to get into like focus on making things last mode or where you're just in survival mode. I feel like it's a lot of survival mode type of thing. Like Capricorn comes at the beginning of winter, and again, like I bring up before in other videos, this is the beginning of winter. If you haven't prepared for winter, you die. Literally, that's the end of it, right? Like I don't know if I put this on the clock. I don't clock app. I don't know if that can be said, but anyways, that's the way that works out. And it's it's a mentality that a lot of Capricorn people have, and I can understand it. It's just you have to know that in life there is supposed to be a balance. You need to make sure that you're doing other things to enjoy yourself as well, because if not, things go south. And right now, another really important energy that's playing out is a really hard one, and it's the Mars-Uranus opposition. Like, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch it. It will give you a lot more context for a lot of what I'm saying right now. But there's a Mars-Uranus opposition, which typically creates bouts of anger or like some type of explosive energy. And for you, it's playing out in your on your 12th and 6th house axis. And this is an axis here where it gives me um it makes me think that there's definitely a need for you to figure out something and do not let this energy just like maybe not act in the moment on anything because right now there's been changes possibly happening within your work life, possibly within your day-to-day routines or your diet, and that's affecting your mental health quite directly, or it's affecting your ability to rest quite directly. And um it's on the harder side of things. And right now, maybe some people are feeling more of an inability to actually sleep. Like there's, for some people, like legitimately with Mars in your 12th house, it can be hard to sleep. It can be hard for you to rest. It can be hard for you to really connect to yourself in a good way, in a positive way. And also there's maybe an issue if you are staying isolated, where that can get a lot harder for you, where maybe that plays out a lot more chaotically in your life, because you've got a lot that's going on in your life. There's a lot of things that are changing your day-to-day life, and it's really possibly throwing off your mental section. And I just need to make sure that you're doing something to enjoy yourself, doing something to disconnect from all the craziness and enjoy something, whether it just be like you enjoying a nice meal. It's Taurus, for example, like enjoying a meal. If you like cooking or something like that, cook something, enjoy yourself, have a glass of wine if you can do that. um do something to just enjoy some type of physical pleasure in life. um Fifth house is related to physical pleasures as well, and people that you enjoy those with. Um, and I'm not saying that you need to do that, but if it's something that you need to do, maybe it is. You follow your own intuition on that, follow your own instincts and your own like inner guidance, right? Because yeah, but make sure that you are aware of the fact that if you are experiencing different thoughts, different like harsher, more difficult thoughts during this time, it's part of the energies. Let time go. Let yourself get a chance to really recalibrate things, and maybe you'll be able to connect to the energies in a different way. All right. Um, you guys, I hope that this is resonating for some of you, and if it does, please let me know in the comments. If it is, give me a like and make sure that you're following me so that you can catch my future videos. Also, if you'd like to work with me personally, I'm going to leave my website information right here, so you can do that, all right? Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Alrighty, now for my Aquarius people. That means my Aquarius rising, Aquarius suns, more so than anything. Aquarius moon, some of you may connect to some of this energy as well. Um, you know, it is my my Capricorns and my Aquarius people that I just have a more keen eye out for right now, just because there's a lot going on with y'all. And for my Aquarius people, like if you haven't watched some of my past videos, please go back and actually watch those. Even though they're for like different lunations, watch those, see if the energy resonates, and then start to connect the dots and connect your cycles. Please make sure that you're doing that. The energies of this full moon are going to affect people more strongly that have placements around 13 degrees of Aquarius, right? If you have something around 13 degrees of any of the fixed signs, make sure that you're paying better attention to this video, because it's going to resonate for you a lot stronger, because the full moon itself is happening at 13 degrees of Taurus, which means that the sun is at 13 degrees of Scorpio, the moon is at 13 degrees of Taurus. For you guys in particular, this is playing out in your home life. And I think that some people are going to start to see on a better level what different things within your public life, your public image, or your career, if you're a person that's still working, um, how that's affecting your home life, and how it's affecting possibly your relationship to your home, your parents, possibly your lineage for some people. And you'll possibly start to understand a little bit better what you have going on there. I want you to look back to 6 months ago, around the time of the new moon in Taurus, because a lot of what you're going to be experiencing now will likely be connected to that time period, because we had the new moon, which is the beginning. Full moon is the point where you can see things, and you'll be able to possibly understand what you have going on now better if you look back at that time. I'm going to see, like on the tube, I'm going to try and upload my videos that I had on my past channel and hope that that doesn't get taken down again, starting over. But anyways, see if you can start connecting dots, because it is all about studying your cycles and patterns. Again, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, go back and watch it because I give a lot more context for a lot of this stuff. If you really want to transform your life using astrology, you have to start connecting dots. You have to start studying your cycles and patterns, because without it, you're just catching little pieces of information, which, yeah, might be interesting. They might be cool at the moment to like be like, okay, this is what's going on. But if you start connecting the dots, you're like, this is what was going on. This is what I have going on right now. Maybe this is what's going to be going on later. Like, you'll start to actually follow the threads of your life and be able to co-create in a more effective manner. All right. Um, and there's something else that's going on around this time that, like, uh, again, like Aquarius people, you are dealing with some really intense energy that is starting to boil up for some of you. Those of you that have planets or placements around the first degrees of Aquarius, you already know your life is getting lit up. It has been getting lit up. And it's been a while, actually, because um, Pluto first moved into Aquarius back in 2023, March of 2023. It was there for a little bit, popped out, came back in, and now it's at the point where like it's back and it's going to stay. And Pluto just recently turned direct there at the beginning degrees of Aquarius earlier, well, in October, and now like the things aren't going back. Like, there is no going back to the old way. There is no changing the things from the past. Like, it's gone, and now we're fully in this. All right, we're gonna make this change. Everything, like this pressure that's been on you is going to get more intense. If you, well, it's going to get more intense for everybody, unless you have things at 0 degrees, then it'll be more intense for you for a bit, and then it'll start to ease up. But as Pluto starts to approach your own personal planets or placements, the transformation, that transformative energy of being burnt down, staying ashes, and then being reborn is going to intensify, right? Um, I understand that for a lot of you, it's already been really hard for quite a bit of time, quite a bit of time. Um, but there is some beauty that can be gained by you knowing that you've already made it through so much. You look back at the past few years, you've been going through it and you're still here, right? You can keep it going and you can see just how great life can be afterwards, because you are being purified. You are getting like renewed. Your energies are getting burned down. The stuff that isn't good for you will likely fall away. The different things about yourself and whatnot that haven't been good for you are going to get the chance to burn off and, go their own ways. But you yourself can rise from the ashes. It's just you have to persevere. You are Saturnian, you're a Saturn ruled person, so you have that ability. Like, it's stronger within you than most other people. You it's there's so much I want to go into, but I'm gonna try and keep this as short as possible. You are experiencing a very transformative time. You're getting back to old familiar shoes in some senses for the Saturnian energies, because they're back in Pisces, but they're going to hit Aries and it's going to hit running. And a lot of you are just needing to figure out a new way of going about things. Like, you may be lost in a lot of different things in life. You may be just completely all over the place and it's not something you're used to. Like, you may have been going through years of just complete chaos and it's not what you're used to. Um, but it's for a reason. Learn what you can from this time. Take this time that Saturn is still retrograde. He's going to turn around in a little bit. And again, that's going to be another piece of the puzzle that's starting to turn. Like, you guys, if you want to, like, if you've been thinking about getting a reading, get a reading sooner rather than later, because you can figure out different energies, what different things you need to be looking out for, so that you can start to adjust what you can in life before the energy starts to turn around. Like, Pluto is in your first house, one that's talking very directly about you. He's already turned around and he's going on his way, right? That's part of like the big energies that are going to be playing into the next few years and the rest of of a lot of people's lives, right? Like, it's really setting the stage there. Saturn is going to be playing a big part as well, a bigger part than anything. And Saturn's your ruler. He's going to turn around and start going forward again. So like right now you're having the chance to go back and really rethink and like really go over things before starts to turn around and you start going forward and it's time for you to just go, right? You still have a chance. Like, I'm doing what I can to help people. I'm working with people that don't have the money right now. Like, we'll figure out a payment plan or something like that. I'm going to be running a special. I want to get as many people to get readings sooner rather than later, just because the energies they're there. You can feel them. If this is resonating for you, know exactly what I'm talking about, right? There is a way for you to figure out this stuff and give yourself the best chance possible of thriving during this time the best you can, and understanding just how the discomfort that you've been put in, a lot of the stuff that you've been going through is going to be preparing you for the new world that is going to be ushered in partly due to you, and partly like you're part of this. All right. So there's just so much, guys. Like I want to do what I can. So again, reach out to me. I should have my website information right here. Please do. But anyways, this is going to be highlighting that section of your life, talking about your career, different things you've had going on there. And it's also going to be highlighting different things that you have going on in your home life. Some people it's going to be dealing with your home itself. Some people it's going to be dealing with your parents and your heritage. Um, if those things are coming up for you right now, pay attention to what you have going on, because they're going to play a part in you figuring out what you need to let go, what you need to move into, what different things, what different changes in your life are best for you, especially if you're resonating with these different things. Like, take it, move with it, because life is about to really change for the whole world, and for you specifically. It's there's going to be stuff that's happening, and having the foundation as solid as possible will be something that you won't regret. All right, so please do what you can to figure out what it is that you have going on in this section of your life, see what it is that's being highlighted, and then work with that, please. um, there is some more chaotic energy that I want to talk about really briefly here, that's playing out in your 11th and 5th houses. Um, some of you may be dealing with issues or different changes with your children. Some of you may have started experiencing different things around July when it comes to that area of your life where it's not just children. It could be your children, it could be things that you bring into this world, things that you create, things that you do for fun. Like, there's some type of changes that are happening here. And around this time, there's going to be something that's also showing you, or maybe connecting to some different energies or different issues that are coming about with your friendships as well. And there's something that's happening here where it's it can get explosive. It can get kind of like out of control. And I want you to just be aware of the fact that the energies are just really intense right now, and they're primed for things happening in the moment. So maybe step back from things if necessary. Like, give yourself some time. Do not act in the moment if possible. Um, there's a lot going on, so just again keep that in mind. Let me know if any of this resonated. Let me know in the comments. Give me a like. Share this to anybody you think could be benefited from it. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Alrighty, now for my Pisces people, meaning my Pisces suns, Pisces risings more than anything, right? Pisces risings, I am definitely speaking very directly to you guys, because that's how I build these. I build them off the rising sign. Sun sign is actually quite important as well, because it's a central part of our being. So for a lot of people, this may actually resonate. It's just if you have an accurate birth time and accurate information, you will see how the areas of your life that I'm talking about that are being lit up really do line up with your rising sign. All right. Now, for you Pisces people, there is a full moon that is actually playing out on your ninth and third house axis, which is talking about, well, it could be highlighting for you how maybe your philosophy, different changes and things that you have going on in your philosophy, or the way that you see the world, the way that you see reality or religion, maybe even foreign lands for some people, maybe even foreign travel, how that's affecting different things that you have going on in your neighborhood, different things that you have going on with your siblings, maybe your communications. There's some type of like energy that's being shown to you around this time that is trying to help you understand how these two areas of your life are interacting with each other. And right now you're getting a chance to possibly see things that you aren't necessarily usually connected to. Maybe you had like a sense of like there's something going on here that needs to be dealt with, but you haven't like necessarily been able to see it, right? Around this time, you're probably seeing things a lot more clearly, especially if you have anything close to about 13 degrees of any of the fixed signs, especially 13 degrees of Taurus. But those of you that have planets or angles around 13 degrees of Pisces as well, this could actually be something that is a lot more supportive for you. It's just if you have something around there, you also have the North Node around that area where it's gonna start supercharging things for in that area of your life, and you've probably been dealing with like Pisces and Virgo people have just been getting lit up. The month of September was just freaking mad, just absolutely mad. And March, like there's a lot like you guys. If you haven't watched first part of this video, go back and watch it because I go into a lot more. You get a lot more context, right? But life is lived through cycles and patterns. As you just start to recognize this, and as you start to study these things, you can really learn to work with them in a more like direct manner, in a more effective manner, in a way that can actually help you guide your life accordingly, right? Um, and you Piscean people are being brought to move into a more like maybe intuitive way of going about life, maybe different things that you've been guessing, second guessing about yourself. You're getting, you're having reassured for you, or they're getting reaffirmed for you. And now's the time for you to like really start to move in that manner, right? It's just you have so much that's going on, and then Saturn's back there, and he's creating like some complications, giving you more responsibility. It's just like making life harder, right? And there's just a whole lot of energy right around the time this time. Like Neptune is also popped back into Pisces, where like things are probably a little more confusing, or when it comes to like your life direction, or it's like it's hard for you to figure out where to go, right? It's hard for you to figure out what you're supposed to be doing or who you are. Some people are going to be like questioning who they are at this point. Um, But a lot of these energies are energies that you're used to because they've been going on for a while, especially the Neptune and Pisces energy. Like that was there for a while. It popped out for maybe a good 6 months or so, maybe a bit more actually, since the end of March. Again, that March time was so crazy. Let me know if you had any crazy moments during March, because wow. But anyways, Neptune is back there, so like maybe some of this energy is like a little more familiar for you than what you've been dealing with. For the past few months, but life is starting to really move on in a way that's going to help you figure out different things that you have going on. And if you figure out what you have going on in this third house section of your life, it'll be a little more supportive for what you have going on for your life and your life trajectory, right? For you yourself, possibly even with different things that have to do with your body, right? Um, some people are going to have different conversations with their family members, with their siblings, right? Some people like I always mention siblings, but some people don't really have siblings and they have cousins, or they have like aunts and uncles that they have some type of communication with, and they need to like resolve things with them. If this is you, then know that that's what I'm talking about. When I talk about third house, it's siblings, aunts, uncles, like cousins, grandparents. I've seen third house stuff play out with grandparents, and rough. But anyways, like the energies here playing out on that side of your life. And for those of you who don't have any of that going on, it could be playing out when it deals with your transportation, with your communications, people that are dealing with primary education, possibly as well. But that's this area of your life that's being highlighted right now, where you're starting to see things for what they are, so you can deal with them accordingly. You can decide, I want this in my life, I don't want this in my life. And you can start to make the decisions and make the start taking the actions that are necessary to give you a more um, authentic area of life in this section, and make it to where it's better able to support you, because that third house section of your life is supposed to be supportive of you and your life trajectory, you and your body, you as yourself, like as a person. Like it's something that is supposed to build you up and hold you up, right? And for a lot of people, it just hasn't been going that way because there's been a lot going on. And a little bit it's going to be lit up as well, because Uranus is popping back in there. Like very soon, actually, very soon after this, Uranus is going to be popping in, because Uranus is at 0 degrees of Gemini right now. So you're going to be revisiting different areas of your life. So I think that that's another thing that I'm going to tell you to pay attention to is this area of your life has been dealing with changes for like the last 7 years, right? And then it's like things will kind of ease up on you for a little bit, but they're coming back. All right. So I want you to see what it is as you have going on here right now. So when that energy comes back in to try and shuffle things up again, you're able to deal with it a lot better, and you can see what it is that needs to be changed, make the changes while the energy of change is there. That way, when it moves on, you've got this area of your life better set up, right? Um, Let me know if any of this resonated. Let me know in the comments. Give me a like, share this video. Make sure that you're following me so that you can catch any future videos, all right? Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, now for my Aries people. That means my Aries suns, Aries risings, y'all more so than anything, right? This is a very interesting time, all right? We're gonna have a full moon in your second house. And when we're talking about second house stuff, we're talking about things that are very important, right? We're talking about your finances and different things that you have going on there. You're going to start to see around this time, if you haven't already started seeing it, how different things when it comes to like debts are affecting your finances. You're going to see how maybe different losses that you've gone through or you've experienced when we're talking about deaths or something like that are playing out in your finances. How different joint resources are affecting your finances, or what you have going on with your finances, what needs to be tweaked, right? Because with the moon being highlighted here, with the moon reflecting the light of the sun, you're able to see a lot better what it is you've got going on here, so you can then make the choices that you need to make to cut things off that need to be cut off, to move into things that you need to move into, to just kind of reassess a lot of what you have going on here. And this is an area of your life that had been going through a lot of changes. You've been going through like 7 years of just like possibly disruptions here, just a whole bunch of like instability possibly. And it's like it kind of eased up for a little bit there for a few months, and it's gonna pop back into to finish some things up. Maybe some of you are needing to change up whatever it is that you do for work in order to bring in money, or maybe change up the way that you relate to money, how you rely on that money, or how for some people second house stuff maybe um, modern astrologers more so than anything like to relate the second house to things that you rely upon for to like sustain yourself, or your values as well. So maybe different things that you value and how those different changes have been going about, and really start to reassess a lot of what you have going on here, because it's going to be important for you to figure this stuff out. So as life starts to really change, as the next year starts to hit and a lot of these energies start to like knock into place, um, you're you're more stabilized, right? So please take advantage of this time to use those energies for what they're good for. Seeing things for what they are, and making the choices that you need to make, making the changes that need to be made. This is an area of your life. This is not an area of your life that you like changes, but it's, let's face it, you've been dealing with them. Now you can see them. You can possibly take a more direct and conscious approach to what you have going on there, right? Now, around this time, there's also like some intense energy that's playing out for some people, where I want you to be aware that there's possibly different changes that have been going on with your third house stuff, meaning like your neighborhood, your siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles, and things like that. There's different changes that have been going on here, on and off, pretty much on more so than anything since July, more intensely. And this July is when something started to really kick off for some people. And September, there was something big that happened probably for some of you. And then now it's getting to a point where it's about to kind of fade off a little bit, but that energy is coming back. So pay attention to what you have going on here. Do not let things get out of control here, like different arguments, different fights or explosions that you have between your siblings and whatnot. Possibly there's something that's happening here where there's linking this area of your life to another area of your life, where it's talking about maybe your beliefs, your belief in God, how you connect to God, how you connect to religion, how you see the world, also how you see foreign lands and foreign people. For some people, there will be different issues coming in between their siblings, and maybe a foreign land. Maybe some of you have moved abroad, and like it's causing some tensions. Maybe some of you are dealing with people that are abroad, or there's something that's happening there that's connecting you to foreign lands or foreign people, and it could be playing into the different issues that are happening here. It's just a really explosive energy, and I want you to make sure that you're paying attention to what you have going on here. Um, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, I don't know if I've said it already, but go back and watch it. It gives you a whole lot more context. Look back to around, when was it? I think it was like May of this year, April, May of earlier this year, when we had the new moon in Taurus. Look back to around that time period when we had the new moon in Taurus. Some of the things that you're dealing with right now are going to be linked to that. And as far as like the explosive energies are concerned, look back to July, mid-July of 2024, because some of the stuff that you're dealing with in this area of your life is going to be linked to that time period. All right. Let me know if any of this resonated. If you'd like to work with me personally, reach out to me. I'll leave my information here for my website. Should be here. Yeah. Share this with anybody you think can be benefited from it. Give me a like. And again, comment. Let me know if any of this resonated for you. If any of this has already been playing out. It'd be really nice to know. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next video.